Alright, let's go ahead and get started. 3.6 practice 119 through 121 evens. Page 119 is where we start. For questions 1 through 12, we are determining whether the lines are parallel or not. And remember, the way we tell if lines are parallel is if the slopes are equal. So let's start with number 2. We've got negative 3x. Okay, we got two lines, y equals this and y equals this. Let's identify the slopes. The slopes are whatever is being multiplied against x. We got a 3 and a negative 3. Are those two things equal? No, therefore not parallel. That means parallel, not parallel. All right, are these two lines parallel? Let's find the slope. There's a slope. There's a slope. Is 5 equal to 5? Yes, therefore the lines are parallel. Now, 6 and 8 get a little bit different because y isn't by itself yet. It's very important that y is by itself before we determine what the slope is, because that's just how slope is defined. So let's use some algebra and get y by itself. What's happening to y? It's getting added by a 4x, so we'll subtract a 4x on both sides. That gives us negative 7y minus 4 equals negative 4x minus 1, and then divide by negative 7, divide by negative 7. We're left with y equal to 4 over 7x minus 1 over 7, and then we'll get y by itself over here, minus 4x minus 4x. It gives us negative 7y equals negative 4x minus 5, divide by negative 7, divide by negative 7. Remember, when we divide on one side, we divide by the whole side. That's why the whole side is on the numerator, and that's why the 7 is under both of them. And then we distribute, meaning we divide by 7 to both terms. So just a reminder. You should have done this before plenty of times, but just a reminder. Always get a reminder. So negative 4 divided by negative 7, negatives cancel, we got 4 over 7. The x, nothing divides that out, and negative 5 over 7. Right, the question is, are the slopes the same, or are the lines parallel? Meaning, are the slopes the same? That's 4 over 7, that's 4 over 7. Yes, lines are parallel. Number 8, we're going to have to do the same type of thing, because 8 has, they don't have y by itself yet, so we need to get y by itself. So let's get y by itself. Y is getting multiplied by 3 and added to x, so we'll subtract to x. We got 3y equals negative x minus 9, divide by 3, divide by 3. We got y equals negative x over 3, or you can think of that as negative 1/3 x, if you prefer to think it that way. And then we got negative 3 divided by 3, which gives us negative 3. And then we got to get y by itself over here. It's getting multiplied by negative 3 and then added to a negative x. So we'll add x to both sides. We've got negative 3y equals x plus 9. Divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. Y equals negative x over 3. Or you can think of it as negative 1 over 3x minus 3. Right, are the slopes the same? Negative 1 over 3, negative 1 over 3. Yes, these lines are parallel. All right, number 10. This time it gives us points. Okay, how do we got two sets of points that define a line. Those 2 points make a line. These 2 points make a line. And we need to know, are they parallel? And to know that, we need to know the slope. How do we determine the slope given 2 points? We use our slope formula. What is that? Elm equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If you don't remember this formula by now, write it again in your notes so you don't forget it, because it's very important. So let's do the first one here. So our second y is this 2 right here, so we got 2 minus our first y is this negative 4. Remember, whenever we substitute, we want to keep our parentheses. X2 is going to be that 0, and our first x is going to be that negative 2. Remember, substitute with parentheses. That way we don't lose our very important negatives. Otherwise, that changes your answer. All right, 2 minus negative 4 is the same as 2 plus 4, which is 6. 0 minus negative 2 is the same as 2 plus 2, or 0 plus 2, which is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, so that's our slope for the first line, and let's use the same formula over here. y2 is 2, minus y1 is 8. That brief interruption was my mom showing me that, and I already knew it earlier in the day, but there's going to be a Skyline Chili in Orlando, not too far from my house. Yeah, so that'll be exciting. Moving on. So, x2 is our -2, and x1 is our 0. 2 minus 8 is -6. -2 minus 0 is -2. -6 divided by -2 are negatives cancel. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Look at that. Same slope, meaning these two lines are parallel. And then let's do the same thing with 12. All right, we got 2 points. We want to know if the lines are parallel. We need to know the slopes to know that. And to get the slopes, we use the slope formula. Always, always rewrite your formulas that you're going to be using. That way you can always have them for quick reference. And kind of, gonna hurt my neck. I wrote it sideways. That's x1. Anyway, y2, -2. y1, 4. x2, -20. x1, -10. -2 minus 4 is -6. -20 minus -10 is the same as -20 plus 10, which is the same as -10. Negatives cancel. They're both even. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. We got 3 over 5 as one of our slopes. Let's do this over here. y2 is -1. y1 is 14. x2 is -10. x1 is 15. -1 minus 14 is -15. -10 minus 15 is -25. Cancel, cancel. They both have a 5 in common. That's 3. That's 5. Look at that. 3 over 5. They got the same slope. They're parallel lines. Now, question 13 through 16 sounds a little tricky, but it's real simple. So we'll start with 14. So the question says, I'll write it first. Okay, so it says, find the equation of the line that passes through the given point. This is the point they give us, and is parallel to this line. So first things first, find the equation of the line. So what formula do we use for equation of the line? The generic formula is y equals mx plus b. Okay, good start. So the only things missing are our slope and our intercept. So luckily, the question says parallel to the given line. This is our given line. If it's parallel, what does that mean? If two lines are parallel, it means they have the same slope. So if these two lines are parallel, that means they have to have the same slope, which is -4. So we know that much. So we know that our slope for our line is going to be -4. Great. Now, what else does it tell us? It has to pass through this line. Well, we need to know our intercept still, but in order to find our intercept, we've got to find values for x and y, and our point gives us values for x and y. X is -3, y is 7, so we'll substitute. 7 equals -4. X is -3 plus b, and now since we just have one variable, we can solve for our variable. Taking the proper steps, of course. 7 equals -4 times -3 is +12. And then plus a b. To get b by itself, we subtract by 12 minus 12. And that gives us -5 equal to b. Are we done? No. So now we just take our original equation, our generic formula. We know what our slope is. It's -4. We know what our intercept is. We know what our intercept is. It is -5. So this line is special because it passes through this point and it's parallel to this line, just like the problem wanted. We'll do another. We'll do 16. All right, we got to find the equation of the line, so we got to rewrite the generic equation of the line. Always rewrite what we're going to use. So it has to go through this point and it has to have this slope, so we can go ahead and substitute everything we know. We know our y is going to be 6. We know our slope is going to be 4 over 9. We know our x is going to be -9. And we still don't know our b. So, and in case you weren't sure, this y came here, that m came there, from here. This x went here, from here. And then the b just came over because we need to solve for b now. So 6, can't do anything there. We got 4 over 9 times -9, and that's the same as -9 over 1. 9's cancel, so we're left with -1 times 4, which is -4 plus b. Get b by itself. We have to add a 4 to each side. 10 equals b. So now we know our equation of the line. Y equals our m is 4 over 9 because it has to be parallel to this line, and to be parallel they have to have the same slopes. X plus 10. Great. All right, for questions 17 through 20, we got to find the negative reciprocal of the number. 18, they give us negative 3 over 4. What's the reciprocal? It just means we flip the fraction. So instead of having 3 over 4, we have 4 over 3. And the negative reciprocal, meaning negative meaning flip the sign. So instead of being negative, it's now positive. So we're actually done in this case. The negative reciprocal of negative 3 over 4 is positive 4 over 3. And we can do the same with 20. 5 over 3, negative reciprocal, flip it. It's now 3 over 5. Flip the sign. Instead of positive, it is now negative. That's the negative reciprocal. Why do we need to know negative reciprocals? Because we're about to use them for perpendicular lines. Because remember, two lines are perpendicular if their slopes are negative reciprocals of one another. Or also another way of saying that, if the slopes, I'll actually undo it. If the slopes multiply to get negative 1, and if we looky here, if we were to multiply these things, multiply 5 cancels 5, 3 cancels 3, these all become 1s. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, and then the negative sign just means negative 1. 3 cancels 3, 4 cancels 4. Left with that negative amongst the ones. Nope, I don't need to go there. Alright, so questions 21 through 32. Determine if each pair of lines are perpendicular. So instead of the first group of problems we said are they parallel, this time we're saying are they perpendicular. Like we just said, either, and there's even a little helpful hint right there in your book that says m1 meaning the slope of the first line times m2 meaning the slope of the second line. Multiply them together equals negative 1, which means they're perpendicular. I'll go ahead and write it out and explain it one more time because you need to know this. So it says if the slope of the first line is multiplied by the slope of the second line and it equals negative 1, that means that the two lines are perpendicular. Go ahead and write this in your notes right now. Okay, question 22. Are these two, let me write them. Are these two lines perpendicular? Let's take their slopes. What are their slopes? Negative 3 over 4 times negative 3 over 4. Does it equal negative 1? You don't even have to multiply, but you could. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. 4 times 4 is 16. No, that does not equal negative 1. These two lines are not perpendicular. In fact, they're parallel. Remember, two lines can be perpendicular, parallel, or neither. They don't have to be just those two, just to remind you. 24. These two lines perpendicular, let's take their slopes. 7 over 8, negative 8 over 7. 7 over 8 times negative 8 over 7. Cancel, 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 cancel. We're just left with negative 1. Yes, perpendicular. We've run into a problem. Y isn't by itself. We got to get y by itself in order to determine what the slope is. So let's get y by itself. Minus 4x minus 4x. Negative 7y minus 4x minus 11. Oops, equals. Divide by negative 7. Divide by negative 7. This gives us y equals 4 over 7x plus 11 over 7. All right. Get y by itself. Minus 7x minus 7x. Negative 4y equals negative 7x minus 4. Divide by negative 4. Divide by negative 4. Y equals 7 over 4. X plus 1. What are our slopes? 4 over 7, 7 over 4. Let's multiply them together. 4 over 7 times 7 over 4. Cancel, 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 cancel. That just equals 1. It does not equal positive 1, or it doesn't equal negative 1 is what I mean. Meaning these two things are not perpendicular. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip to 30 and 32 now. 30, we got two lines instead, or two sets of coordinates. All right, how do we determine what the slopes of these lines are? We use our slope formula. Whee! Always rewrite it, boys. Always rewrite it. All right, y2 is 2, y1 is negative 2, x2 is negative 1, x1 is negative 2. 2 minus negative 2 is the same as 2 plus 2 is 4. Negative 1 minus negative 2 is the same as negative 1 plus 2, which is 1. 4 divided by 1 is 4. That's our slope of that line. Y2 is negative 4. Y1 is negative 2. X2 is 4. X1 is negative 4. Negative 4 minus negative 2 is the same as negative 4 plus 2, which is negative 2. 4 minus negative 4 is the same as 4 plus 4, which is 8. Cancel, 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 cancel. We got negative 1 over 4. These are our two slopes. 4 times negative 1 over 4, cancel, cancel, gives us negative 1. Perpendicular. Woo! All right, let's do 32. All right, we got to determine if they're perpendicular. So we got to know the slopes. To know the slopes, we use our formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, y2 is 8, y1 is 5, x2 is 0, x1 is negative 2, x minus 5 is 3, 0 minus negative 2 is the same as 2 plus 0 plus 2, which is 2, 3 over 2. Negative 7 minus negative 1, negative 4 minus negative 1. Negative 7 minus 1 is the same as negative 7 plus 1, which is negative 6. Negative 4 minus negative 1 is the same as negative 4 plus 1, which is negative 3. Cancel, 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 cancel. So we got 2. And so we can multiply them. 3 over 2 times 2 equals 3. That doesn't equal negative 1. Not perpendicular. All right, 33 through 36. Very important that you understand how to do problems like these. Same thing as 13 through 16, just with perpendicular lines. So we want to find a line. So we know we're going to use y equals mx plus b. That passes through this point and is perpendicular to this line. So how do we know if two lines are perpendicular? If they're two slopes, multiply together to get negative 1. Another way of saying that is the negative reciprocal. So we have negative 2 over 5 as the slope. What's the negative reciprocal? We'll flip it and flip the sign. Negative turns into positive. So the slope we will be using is 5 over 2. So we got y equals 5 over 2 x plus b, and if we still need to figure out b, so we need to substitute our x and our y for a second. Y equals 8, x equals 2 plus b. We got one variable, we can solve that. 2 cancels 2, we're left with 8 equals 5 plus b. Subtract to 5, subtract to 5, 3 equals b. So therefore, the slope of the line that passes through 2, 8, and is perpendicular to that line is y equals 5 over 2x plus 3. All right, let's do the next one. All right, we got to find the line that passes through this point and is perpendicular to that line, so we know we're going to be using our line formula. We got to find perpendicular, meaning the slope is the negative reciprocal, so the negative reciprocal is 7 over 2. Flip the sign, flip the fraction. Negative turns to positive. 7 over 2 turns to 2 over 7. That's the slope we're using. Y equals 2 over 7 x plus b. Got to solve b. We got to use our temporary x and y values. Negative 1 equals 2 over 7 times negative 9. Oh, that's a 7. Oof. Negative 9 plus b. Nothing we can cancel over here, so that's unfortunate, but we can still multiply. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18 over 7. Not a fun fraction to add and subtract, but it's fine. And then to get the b by itself, we'll add 18 over 7 plus 18 over 7. That gives us 18 over 7 minus 1 equals b, but then we gotta, you remember how to add fractions, they have to have the same denominator. So what do we multiply 1 by? We multiply it by 7 over 7. Now we got 11 over 7 equals b. So that's our b, meaning the slope of our line, or the whole equation for the line, is going to be this. If you don't understand what happened here, go back to adding and subtracting fractions. And if you still have questions, write it down so you can ask me. All right. All right. That's all for now. That's all I need to give you examples for. You should be able to do the rest. Remember, your homework goes it goes up into question 11 on the word problems on page 121. So write that down in your notes. I don't want you going all the way to page, because there's still more problems. I don't want you going all the way to page 125. You just have to go to the word problems on 121. Anyway, that's all. Well,